You ever walk past an old building and just wonder, what stories are trapped in those walls? Some buildings, they're just buildings. But others, they're like living chronicles, silent witnesses to everything that's happened around them. Today, we're going to unlock the story of one of those places, a building that's so much more than a landmark, it's really the heart of a city's story. Okay, let's dive in.
So let's start with this question. What actually makes a building a landmark? It seems simple, right? But it's way more than just being old or big. Is it the fancy architecture, the history that happened there, the people who built it? Or is it something deeper, like the way it gets woven into the very fabric of a city? We're going to explore all of that through one pretty amazing example.
For anyone who knows Toronto, this address, 57 Bond Street, is instantly recognizable. It's the home of St. Michael's Cathedral Basilica, a building that's been standing for over 175 years. But here's the thing. When its story first began, this location was anything but the center of town. Yeah, you're reading that right. That was the actual complaint when the land was bought way back in 1845. People thought it was on the northern edge of the city, basically out in the middle of nowhere. It's just a wild reminder of how much Toronto has grown, literally swallowing up this once remote spot and making it the heart of today's downtown core.
Now, a building like this doesn't just appear out of thin air. It has to start as a vision, an idea in someone's mind. And in this case, it was the vision of a handful of really dedicated people who shaped its destiny from day one.
All right, let's meet the key players here. Over the first 50 years, 4 leaders really left their mark. It all kicked off with Bishop Michael Power. He was the founder, the guy with the original vision. He was followed by Bishop de Charbonneau, who came in to make it beautiful. Then Archbishop Lynch, who gave it that iconic tower. And finally, Archbishop Walsh, who kept making it better for a city that just kept growing. And here's where you really see the personal commitment. Bishop Power didn't just ask other people for money. He put down nearly a third of the purchase price from his own pocket. This wasn't just some project for him. This was a personal mission. He was determined to build a home for his community. But right as construction is getting started, an unbelievable crisis hits the city. The Great Famine in Ireland forces waves of desperate people to flee to North America. Now get this, in 1847 alone, more than 38,000 immigrants arrived in Toronto, a city whose entire population was only 20,000 people. I mean, just try to imagine that. The city was completely, utterly overwhelmed. So in this moment of total crisis, Bishop Power showed what true leadership was all about. He wasn't just giving sermons. He was living it. He was out there personally caring for the sick and the dying, many of whom had typhus. And then, the ultimate tragedy. He caught the disease himself, and he died. He never even got to see his cathedral finished. Instead, his sacrifice became its foundation. He was buried in the crypt, forever a part of the building he dreamed of. So after Bishop Power's death, it was up to his successors and the whole community to carry that vision forward. The story shifts now from one man's dream to the physical, brick-by-brick job of raising a landmark from the ground up. The building was officially opened in 1848, but honestly, it was just a shell. It took decades to really transform it. In the 1850s, they started adding the decorations and those beautiful stained glass windows. Then, in 1866, the famous tower and steeple finally went up. A massive new organ was installed in 1880, and in 1890, they added even more windows up high to let the light just pour in. And that spirit of sacrifice, it just kept going. Check this out. The second bishop, de Charbonneau, inherited a cathedral that was drowning in debt. So what did he do? He sold his own family's land back in France and used his personal fortune to pay off the loans and fund all that beautiful interior work. It's just incredible. So all of this work, all of this dedication, it resulted in something more than just a big church. It created an absolute masterpiece of a very specific and influential style of architecture, one that eventually earned it official protection as a heritage site. The cathedral is a perfect example of the Gothic revival style. Basically, this was a whole movement that looked back to those gigantic, awe-inspiring medieval cathedrals in Europe for ideas. We're talking soaring ceilings, pointed arches that draw your eyes up to the heavens. It's all about creating a sense of grandeur. And St. Michael's was one of the very first and finest examples of this in Toronto. What's really fascinating is how specific the city's heritage rules are. It's not just a note that says, protect this building. No, it's a detailed list of exactly what makes it special. The floor plan, which is shaped like a cross, the steep slate roof, and that incredible tower. Even tiny details like the little carved stone faces above the doors, every single piece is considered essential. And that same level of detail goes for the inside too. That incredible vaulted ceiling, it's not just beautiful, it's an engineering marvel designed to make you feel small, in a good way. The rules protect that feeling, along with the elegant columns and, of course, the crypt, the literal and spiritual foundation of the whole place. These aren't just features, they're the soul of the building. But here's the thing about landmarks. They can't just be museum pieces, frozen in time. The story doesn't end when the last brick is laid. To be truly important, a building has to keep having meaning, a purpose, in the community today.
So why does it all matter? The City of Toronto's official designation really sums it up perfectly. They say it has associative value, which is its link to the people and the history. It has design value, because it's just a brilliant piece of architecture, and it has contextual value, meaning it's a visual anchor for the entire neighborhood. And this one fact says so much. After another old church was replaced back in the 1880s, St. Michael's officially became the oldest Catholic church left standing in the city. It's a continuous, unbroken link, all the way back to the earliest days of Toronto.
And that link to the past is very much alive. This quote from the current Archbishop, Thomas Cardinal Collins, is so powerful. He says that when he's in the cathedral, he's always aware that he is physically sitting right above the tomb of its founder, a constant reminder of that legacy of service and sacrifice the building represents.
And the story is still going. Just in 2015, a massive restoration project was finished, which included replacing the entire tower and spire. This wasn't just a patch-up job, it was a huge recommitment, a promise to make sure that this icon of Toronto's history will endure for generations to come.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought. St. Michael's holds the story of a city's growth, its compassion in a time of crisis, and the vision of its people. So how about your community? What buildings hold your history? And what are we all doing to make sure those stories don't just fade away?